So I was meant to do coaching pre-stream today. Luckily, our boy has who's a very dedicated student, has been improving very quickly right now. Is a Zerg player and has agreed to do the coaching on stream, and we're happy to hop into it now. So it's our third coaching session together. We've been rebuilding some fundamentals and stuff, which he's been working really hard on, and we're now going to be moving into some other stuff. So I'm going to try not to show too much info here. I'll just get him on call, and we'll get into the coaching. So we'll do this for an hour, guys. Then we'll just cast that final series of the CTL finals we didn't get to yesterday. And then we'll get into the Hero Maru series from Masters Colosseum. And it should be good. Heyo.
Perfect.
Cool. You can hear me okay, mate?
Yeah, it's very perfectly. Thank you.
Awesome. How you doing? Sorry for the delay today. Thank you so much for being flexible,
don't
mate.
worry. Don't worry. I'm playing very, very late normally, so it's not even a problem. Here in Germany, we have like 11 p.m. right now, and I'm playing normally at like 3 a.m. until the night, so don't worry.
Oh, cool. Oh, let me just turn my aircon on 1 sec. Okie dokie. Cool.
Perfect. I really hope my skill level right now is not too boring for the people watching.
No, I mean, it's the lower level or the dumber or the bigger mistakes, whatever it is actually better. So slow
I'll try
is
my
good,
best.
mistakes are good, easier to point things out.
Yeah,
We've got
awesome.
a whole lot of ZVZs, which is awesome. Just getting those organized into our folder. And a couple of ZVPs as well, which is great. So did you want to start with ZVP or ZVZ? I know I said we'd start ZVP first, but honestly, whatever the priority is for you. So what do you
For me
reckon?
personally, I think that I struggle most against ZVZ at the moment.
Yeah. Let's start with that then. Let's get into it. All right. So ZVZ struggling right now. And had you started doing the Ling Bane bust at all, or are you still just doing the BDGM stuff?
Yes, I have. I'm winning like 50% of the time. Sometimes they just like rush me in a sense where I don't have enough units yet, and they come to me with a lot of roaches early on, and that's where I struggle with at the moment, at least.
No worries. So how many drones do you normally stop at with that build when you go for your Ling Bane attack?
54, like that.
Oh, right. So you're still doing the bronze to GM, right?
Yes, I'm just doing the B2GM build. And then I don't know at which time I'm attacking at the moment, because what I have practiced at the moment is the Roach Ravager into Muta attack at the moment. And that's where I attack around 7 minutes. I think it's very similar in the Ling Bane build, but I'm not sure.
So I think what we're going to do is we might just focus more on... So I only got to very briefly mention this in our very first session, not our second one, I believe. Was it our first? No, it was our second, I think. I can't remember. Let me look through our notes. It was at the bottom of our notes for the second session. We have a few links for ZVZ there around a different style that involves like a pretty fast Ling Bane all-in, which is really good for teaching us kind of the fundamentals of like aggressive Zerg versus Zerg. And this is usually the main sort of blueprint, plan that I give people to really improve at ZVZ quickly, because it kills people that are greedy, which is a lot of people in ZVZ, but it also teaches you like all the rules of like a tight early build order, but also how to micro your Ling Bane, which is very, very like deep. It's like, microing Ling Bane against Ling Bane especially is incredibly deep. There's so much to learn there. So did you have a chance to look at any of those videos by any chance in the document?
Yes, I do not remember which exactly. I think I've watched every one of them, but I'm not sure actually. But I've watched some where you just say that aggression is the key to like winning in ZVZ.
Yep. Awesome. All right, well, how about we get in and just practice that stuff rather than looking at your replays? Because I want to look at your replays of it, but also it would be mostly looking at fundamentals, because
Yes, of course.
That's not really tailor-made for Zerg vs. Zerg. And now you're getting to an MMR where you're kind of at the point where we really need to just learn a new style for ZVZ. That build will still work for you for quite a while against Terran to a certain extent. There will be weaknesses, of course, but like it's a good starting point, right? So let's get on here and let's start practicing this new build order. So I think that's the best thing we can do today, and also give you a bit of micro practice after the build order. So, okay, here's the plan. Quick revision to make sure we cover things quickly today. Okay, so what we're going to write, we need to start focusing on the build. So we're going to practice build a few times, and then we're going to do some micro practice as well towards the end of the builds. So basically the idea is we're going to practice the opening. Once the opening's done, we're just going to fiddle around with micro. We're going to go, okay, we don't care about macro anymore. Let's just talk about the rules of how to micro Zergling Baneling and how to make that as useful and effective as we can. So let's go. Frostline to start. Grab an AI here and see how we go.
Also, I really hope my internet connection is going to hold up this time.
That was the
last time we had some problems.
That's all right. I mean, it was the last like few minutes, thankfully. So if it screws up, wait till then, internet connection, okay? It's also not too late for you. I know my internet, if they're going to do maintenance, they'll do it at like 4 a.m. because they figure no one's online at 4 a.m. So hopefully it's the same in Germany. For now, let's just go for a hatchery first build. We're going to do a hatch gas pool. This build order is, of course, fantastic. If you guys haven't watched this video on this build order, there's the link in chat if you guys are watching on stream.
So just the normal B2GM one, right?
No. This is the aggression is the key. Stage 1 Ling Bane build. Don't worry, I'll talk you through it. All
right.
And we might even change it a little bit from the exact build order in this one, because this is a video from 2017. So there might be some slight optimizations in the opening. But, there we go. Awesome. Yep, so we'll send a drone down to the natural now. And we get 3 more drones. Very nice. All right. So it's a little bit earlier than we need to take the gas. We could take it a little bit later than that, but that's okay.
All right.
Something else is we might skip the drone scout from now on. Let's pause for a sec, actually. I'm thinking about this. So, because I've realized, hey, BDGM, we're still doing drone scout, which is a really good habit. And I'm thinking now, and I'm like, you know, do we want to skip the drone scout? So let's think about this. Yeah. If you're used to, do you always drone scout at the same time at the moment?
Yes, the 14th drone is going to scout.
Yeah. So in that case, you know what? We're going to skip the drone scout for ZVZ. Okay? Okay. So, Bill, I'll start some notes here. We're going to skip drone scout. The reason is, especially on bigger maps, you're going to get there kind of late. And I guess you could technically, it could allow you to build your spawning pool a few seconds faster, but it wouldn't be like a massive difference, which is the problem. And if you've gone hatchery first already, and you've lost minerals from drone scouting as well, yeah, you know you're getting rushed, but your spawning pool's so late, it doesn't really help you, right? So this will allow us to just rely on Overlord vision and just get better at like reacting as time goes on. So that's going to be the first thing we do in the future games. And you know what? That's going to change the rhythm of the build order. So let's go out and let's rehost and actually do it again. Since we're only a minute in, we're not wasting much time. If we're a few minutes in, I'd just keep going. But for now, let's hop out of that one. I'll rehost that same game. And it's a good little detail. I didn't even think about that until we got in there and the drone was going across and my cogs were kind of turning, going, do we want to keep doing this or no? So there's ups and downs to everything, but I think we'll cut that out in ZVZ and it should be good. So we'll get in there, try that again. Hatch first, no drone scout this time. With the gas in the pool, after the hatchery goes down, try and use your next like your drones that pop out to build the gas in the pool is what we'll do. So we'll kind of go the I'll tell you what to do actually when we get there, just to make it easy. Because it just allows the gas to be a few seconds later, which lines up a bit nicer for the build. One habit a lot of players like to do at high level is they like to actually hotkey their first 2 overlords on like their 2nd and 3rd army hotkeys, just so it's a bit easier to move them around if they need to, or double tap to like look at the front of the enemy base. Not a big thing, just something I'm going to put in the notes just in case we want to add that later on.
I'm not used to doing that anyways.
Yeah. We might decide to add that in, but it's not super important. It's just like a little note I'll put here, and it's like, hey, if you want to add a little thing, it's there, but it's not necessary. So yeah, so what we can do is, as these drones rally out, we can build with these next 2, the gas and then the spawning pool. So build the gas and the pool with those 2 drones normally. So
with these ones?
Yeah, so build this pool as well. So sorry, it's the last 2 drones. So basically once you get 16 on minerals, then the next one goes gas, and then the last one goes spawning pool. So basically it's one goes to minerals, one goes to gas, one goes to spawning pool in the order that they pop out.
And if I rally these new drones to the gas, so it's okay, right?
Yep, that's perfect. That's fine. If we want to go really hard on gas, you can definitely pull off minerals onto gas, but just rallying onto it for now is something we're going to do in all 3 matchups, and that's perfectly fine. Now you've rallied to the natural, which is great. And 20 supply overlord is usually pretty good here as well, just to make sure we don't forget it. Technically, you can delay that till after your queens start, but it's more reliable to just remember to do it now, so it's good. All right, let's pause really quickly. Special rule for overlords in Zerg versus Zerg with your vision. Really small thing, but we're just going to interrupt the build temporarily to talk about it. You can tab out to the notes really quickly. So we're just going to say overlord vision in ZVZ. Because queens can push your scouting overlord back, you need 2 overlords outside their base. Because it's really important to see Ling Floods. And if the queen comes and pushes your overlord out on one side, you need to be able to fill that gap by bringing the other queen forward a little bit, or have them both kind of on either side of the entrance of their base, if that makes sense. So normally we want to try and send both queens, both overlords, sorry, across to their side of the map, and one might be on, say, the south of your opponent's natural, and one on the north of their opponent's natural. Basically, you know, so if one gets pushed back, the other one still has good vision. So you'll still see a Ling Flood either way, unless they really commit to walking a couple of queens very far outside their base, at which point they're missing injects and all sorts of things. So this second overlord should go across the map, and then your third one that you've built should sit outside your base where you've put this second overlord to see any incoming attacks. All right. After that, so basically first plus second outside base, just to put this in a list format here in the document. Third outside your natural. Fourth in middle of map. That's good to see, like, back and forth. If they run at you with Ling Bane, you can see if they're continuing or if they turn back. And then other overlords can just be overlords in back of base. We don't want too many on the map in case Mutalisks come out, right? If you have like 20 overlords on the map, obviously that's bad. But just having 4 overlords on the map is normally good for ZVZ. Awesome. All right, let's get back to the build. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. Sweet. We're looking good. All right, 2 queens. If you want to build 4 Zerglings or 2 Zerglings, you can. It's whatever you're comfortable with here. But the most important thing is make Ling speed as soon as you've got 100 gas. And we're also going to send a drone to the 3rd base now. Yeah, keep droning.
That's early.
Yeah, we're just going to send it ahead of time to make sure we remember it, especially if Zerglings arrive. So build a few more drones. And you've also started an Overlord here. So we didn't need that Overlord just yet. And this is something we should probably apply in our other builds as well. So in terms of the build order, skip Drone Scout, look at the document once more. First time through is always a bit sloppy, right? Because I'm telling you as you go. We're not going to be perfect, but we'll be really good. Do you like to go just 2 Zerglings to scout or 4 Zerglings as standard with your build? Either way is fine. Just you choose.
I don't care.
All right, we'll just go 2 queens plus 2 lings. That
Right.
should be fine. Plus scout with the lings, right? Scout with
So
lings.
lings means just one egg, right?
Yeah, one egg. Yeah. And then we want to go ling speed, right? But we're going to leave on gas. I'm just writing leave on gas just because a lot of our other builds we're starting to pull off gas when we make ling speed. With this one, we're not going to. We'll just stay on gas because we are going to be doing a big Ling Bane attack. And then we don't want to build an Overlord, right? No extra Overlord. That's just like a bonus point I'm writing in here, even though it's not really part of the build. We can remove that once you're used to it, right?
Okay.
And then we're going to go 32, third hatchery. And then we're going to go...
Which we did earlier right now, right?
In ZVP.
I mean, we already sent the drone there, even though we only had like 26 supply.
Yeah. Just, I mean, you can send it a little bit later than that if you want, but we just wanted to make sure we're droning and having it on time to start. It should be started about 2 minutes 40, roughly. It's okay if it waits a few seconds. We're just making sure it was in position ready ahead of time. And if you lose 15 minerals mining, doesn't matter. So you see we got 270 minerals right now in game. If you didn't build the Overlord, that's 370. And then 3 of that would be drones. So we'd still have to wait probably till 245, something like that, I guess. Because you're not doubling up your workers constantly, your mining is going to be a little bit slower than like pro benchmarks because like your minerals aren't mining perfectly in your main base. They're pretty good, but it could be slightly faster. So yeah, about 245. If we send that drone 10 seconds later, there's no problem at all. Yeah, just make sure you don't send it too late is all. But 31 Overlord after the hatchery. And then we'd build a few more lings. Oh, I guess we want to go Bane Nest. Sorry, right after that. So 32 third hatchery, 31 Bane Nest, 30 Overlord, and then 30 Overlord. Lings, plus another Overlord. Now, the reason why we go Lings rather than just build the second Overlord straight away is because you're going to be stacking lava on your hatcheries at that point because you've been saving for the hatchery, then the Baneling Nest, then the Overlord. So that's why we want to build those Zerglings, just to spend a little bit of lava so that our hatcheries keep producing. And before the lava injects pop, that is. And then you're going to basically just do a Ling Bane Flood.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yep.
Because this build order is a little bit different than what I have been practicing for the B2GM one. Mm-hmm. And do I understand correctly that the B2GM build order is some kind of like basics training to just get used to building a lot of hatcheries and macro hatcheries and a lot of links and banes? Because I have one with that already.
Yeah.
But this seems like a little bit of modified one.
This is much sharper. So this is actually like going to hit way earlier. The other one's more of like a macro massling bane. And you're absolutely right. Just getting used to like building lots of hatcheries and massing units and kind of doing a few more backstabs and things like that. But it falls off really hard versus large roach armies. And it hits so late that it doesn't really punish greedy players early on. Whereas this is going to be a very sharp attack. We want to be hitting them about 4 minutes, and it's a complete all-in, the way we're going to execute it when we start with this build. Once we get better at the all-in, we'll learn how to transition off of that. It'll be more like a set Ling Bane pressure. We'll go something like 30 supply to 44 on Lings, and then we'll drone behind it while we're doing the attack. Yeah.
All right, 4 minutes sounds very nice. That's much earlier than what I've done.
You've probably been hitting with 1-1 at like 7 minutes or 6:30 or something, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So yeah, it's a very different result for your opponents. They will call you names when you beat them with this build. Like they will not be happy with you.
All right.
Now, if you think about it, how many drones is this all in off? If we stop at 30 supply after, because we kill a drone with the hatchery, kill a drone with the Baneling Nest, and we've built 2 Zerglings, that means we are on 30 supply minus 4 for queens, 1 for Zerglings. Means we only have 25 drones. It's a 25 drone Ling Bane timing. 3 hatch Ling Bane attack. So why do we build the 3rd hatchery? It's for production, and it makes it look like you're playing a macro build, right? And it sets you up so when you learn to transition off this build, you've got a much better follow-up. A lot of people get confused about why we build the 3rd hatchery with this build, but it basically makes it look exactly like a normal build, and it gives you a much better follow-up. So yeah, awesome. All right, let's get back into the build, shall we?
All right.
So we need to build 3 more drones.
Yes.
We've got it. We've already
And
built an
also-
overlord ahead of time, but that's fine. Yep.
Also, I only have 170 minerals because it's showing you that I have 270. I only have 170.
Oh no, it only shows 170 on my stream as well.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, because of the overlord, if you didn't build the overlord, you'd have 270 right now. Because we normally wouldn't build this overlord. But we'd also still be building 3 more drones right now, which would put that back down anyway to 120.
I don't even know why I built the overlord. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say you normally don't do that with your other builds either. So
yeah, right.
Sorry.
I don't know why.
I'm talking in your ear. It's always a bit different when someone's live coaching you through the build at the same time. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So you've already got the overlord, which is great. Let's just build 3 more drones, then 3rd hatchery, baneling nest, and start the Zergling production. All right, ready to go?
All right.
Game resumed.
You'll still have to talk me through with when to build overlords and baneling nests and so on.
1 more drone and then 3rd hatchery, okay? All right. So 3rd hatchery and then baneling nest right after. Cool. We can start getting in the habit of building that in our wall off in future, but for now that's fine. And build 1 more overlord and nothing but Zerglings, okay? So nothing but Zerglings and get your next inject cycle going straight away. Beautiful, beautiful. Doing great. While we're just waiting for a second, take your overlord outside your base that's moving out. Put it directly out front, your natural, kind of in a bit more of a central position. Yeah, perfect. All right, keep building Zerglings and banelings. Pull back. We don't want to move out just yet. I know the AI is annoying.
Only 1 gas, right?
Yep, all in 1 gas. No 3rd queen. All right, and now we can go. So let's run across the map, and let's go for a big Ling Bane attack. You don't want to morph Banes till you're on his side of the map, because they're much slower.
Okay, should I now cancel that?
Game paused.
Well, we're kind of done the build at this point, so it's time to talk about how we micro anyway. Okay? So this is the build. You just go, you just do nothing but rally Ling Bane. Whenever you get a second in between the fighting, you go inject, build more Lings, build more Banes. You never need to build another Overlord because your Lings are dying constantly, so you never need to go past 52 supply. And that's it. That's the build. Just all in, right?
All right.
So
also,
now
do I understand correctly? I only build the Banes in front of his base because the Lings are faster, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So in terms of the micro, there's a lot of things, and you can definitely review these in the documents and stuff. But first things first, what we want to do is, let's cancel these banelings, okay? And let's set ourselves up for this, okay? So let's get back in, cancel the banelings. Remember, we don't need to keep injecting now, okay? So just chill. I want you to go into your main, take a second gas, and put 3 workers on gas straight away, okay? Like I said, we're not playing a real scenario right now. Just click 3 drones on that gas just to make sure we don't forget about it. Oh, you already built them? You rally click them. Okay, no worries, that's fine.
I read them, yeah.
Awesome. All right, so stop building any Zerglings, don't produce anything else. Now, basically, first technique is going to be we always want to put those banelings on our second army key. So is that going to be number 3 for you? Where do you want to put those banelings? Perfect. Awesome. So as long as every time you do that, you morph them, you do that. Always banelings separate to Zerglings when we are playing Ling Bane versus Ling Bane. If you're playing Zerg versus Terran, the banelings can be on the same hotkey as the Zerglings. It doesn't matter because you want your whole army kind of mixed together. But why do we need to be very specific in this matchup? The reason is a baneling, 2 shots of Zergling, right?
All right.
So, or 1 shots, I should say. But banelings 2-shot other banelings, and they 1-shot Zerglings. So if you ever run in with your banelings in a blob like that, and the enemy has 2 banelings, they're going to get the money shot, right? They're going to kill everything. So you always want to be spread out as much as possible with your banelings. Into pairs, usually. Pairs mean you can blow up your opponent's banelings really easily. Now, what you just did, that seems to make sense. But look at what happens if you click into your opponent's natural with your army. Just click them all.
Yeah,
look at how they
clump up again.
So you need to put them in a column. You know, think of it like an army marching into battle along a road, and an old, you know, you kind of want to put them out, yeah. Other angle. Yeah, so you want them just like 2, 2, 2. Yeah, this is a little bit better. Yeah. Yep. I mean, you don't need them in 2 different rows. Just the one row is fine, like that top one, and you just want that row to be longer. Yeah. Now, they're still too close together. You'd actually want them a bit further apart than that. They're pretty well spaced, but a bit further apart than that would be great. You can just kill these Roach Ravager with your Zerglings if you want. It's all good. We've got plenty of gas mining now. So, that looked really painful, though, to set them up in that formation, didn't it? Right? That's like a pain in the fucking ass. So, cancel these Banelings. I'm going to show you a little trick to make it a bit easier. So, let's attack your own natural. Let's imagine your own natural is the enemy base. What I want you to do is select your Zergling hotkey. And I want you to click there, and then you can morph the Banelings as you're running there. But the problem is right now we've got Banelings already on our hotkey and stuff, so let's get our units organized. So go back to his side of the map with your army. And get the Banelings off your control group. And we want everything on just number 2. We should only have the Banelings on number 3, and detonate those Banelings, actually. Just tell them to blow up. Beautiful. Alright, so when you run towards the base, what you're going to do is as you get to about halfway across the map, you're going to go Baneling, 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 Baneling. Basically, so every like second or so, you tap the Baneling hotkey 2 times. And that way you can morph. Let's just start with like 3 pairs of Banelings, 6 Banelings in total. And once we've morphed them all, then we can hotkey them separately and then click them into my main base, okay? So go ahead, click towards my base with your Zerglings, and then start morphing those Banelings.
Just click or right click? A click.
Just right click's fine.
All right, into the base or in front, sorry.
Just out front the base is fine. All right, no more Banelings, that's plenty. And now hotkey them separately.
Thanks for the Bezos box.
And now click those Banelings into the main base. You don't need to go in with your Zerglings yet. Click them into the main base, into the mineral line.
Oh, okay, main base.
Yep,
okay.
Beautiful. Pull your Zerglings back. They should only be engaging when the Banelings go in. And what you'll do, notice your Banelings are reasonably well spread. We could have spread them out a bit even further. So one of the little things that happens is they clump up a bit as they go because the back one's morphed first, whereas the other one's morphed slower. And basically you engage with your Zerglings, and then when your Banelings get in, you shift click them on the drones. Because if you don't do that, they will all go and blow up on the Queen because she's a fighting unit, right? And it'll take like 9 Banelings to kill the Queen. So what you want to do is you want to right click on a drone in the middle of a clump of drones on the left side of the mineral line, and then shift click on the drones on the right side of the mineral line so that they blow up on the left side and they blow up on the right side. And you always need to make sure they have a shift command, because if they ever don't have a command, the Baneling AI takes over. The Baneling AI is really stupid, and it says, kill fighting unit. Fighting unit is Queen. They all run and blow up on the Queen and kill next to nothing.
All right.
Cool.
But I can only do that when I see the mineral line with the drone, so I have to keep an eye on it, right?
Yeah, so normally you're microing your Zerglings as you're going in, but then as the Banelings get close to the mineral line, that's when you just do a shift click on the drone. So the Baneling micro is all done ahead of time. It's morph them on the way across the map, hotkey them separately, click them into the mineral line. You could do it in the natural mineral line. I like to click in the main and then split some into the natural if so. But the whole point is you've just click them in, you micro your Lings, try to do what damage you can. Sometimes your Lings can fully commit. Sometimes your Lings have to just run away because he's got too many Banelings. And then, our Banelings are in the mineral line. You double tap 3 to jump to those Banelings, and you quickly shift click them on the drones. And then you go back and do another macro cycle, make more Banelings, do it again. And you just keep doing this attack over and over again. And it's like really automated so that you're set up ahead of time, right?
All right.
Morph Banes on the move, so they are pre-spread in a nice line. That's the first step. Second step, hotkey them on 3 and click into mineral line. Micro Lings in with the attack. When the Banes reach the mineral line, shift click them onto the drones. And likewise, if the opponent ever runs in with a big pack of Zerglings and it looks like your Banelings can blow up on them, you are allowed to select your Banelings and do an attack move or something like that. But you need to very quickly, if the Zerglings back away and you don't get that hit, you need to give them that move command back to the mineral line or they're all going to clump up again, right? So what I prefer to do is I prefer to just box the Banelings that are near the Zerglings and just tell them to A-move or tell them to detonate. So I'll be like, oh, you two Banelings, I'll grab just those 2 Banelings that you guys can A-move off in a different direction or whatever. Because otherwise I see a lot of players just basically clump their Banelings up and run around in a circle chasing the Zerglings, Whereas if you're running towards their mineral line, the pressure is on them they have to stop those banelings. If those banelings get in the mineral line, they are fucked, right? Like, they have to stop it. So by constantly rallying banelings into mineral lines, you will destroy them if you keep on just that constant train of Ling Bane.
But also always in the main base, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can do the natural if you want. It's up to you, really, whatever you prefer. I like the main, and then I might box half of my banelings and split them into the natural if I see there's a lot of drones there. But I like the main because it's a bit deeper in the base. It's always full of workers, whereas sometimes the natural's a bit empty on workers. So I just like the habit of clicking in the main base. It gives me more time, so if I'm a bit late to hop to the banelings, they don't all just blow up on a random roach or queen, you know? So yeah, that's always nice. Cool. All right, so let's detonate your Banes and let's practice the Baneling Morph maneuver, and let's try that setup of that attack again. So just blow these Banes up.
Detonate the Banes? Detonate?
Yep, just get rid of them. And let's go pretend you're attacking your opponent. We'll actually attack your opponent this time. So run across the map, morph Banes, 5 to 10 Banes or 6 to 10 Banelings, however many you want. You want to do it a bit closer to their base, though. So we're a bit far back, so let's cancel those, pull back, and we can try again. Remember, we want to only start it from about halfway across the map, okay?
All right. But I'm clicking the Zerglings in front of his base, not inside.
That's right. Perfect. Yes.
Okay.
Click those Banelings immediately in the main base. Yeah, you can use the minimap for that. And then just micro your Lings around with the Banelings. They should be kind of engaging at the same time. So you can fight those Roaches and Lings with just your Zerglings. And just micro your Lings. And remember, as your Banelings get to the mineral line, that's when we micro them, okay?
Okay. Microing means I just stick them inside his base, or what do you mean?
Yep, you got to micro your Banelings. Your Banelings are in the mineral line. You've already... Come on, that's the timing.
Right.
Remember, it's you micro your Zerglings. What does that mean? Depends on the situation. Sometimes you just A-move, sometimes you're running away from Banelings, whatever. But the whole point is that's what you're actively focusing on, and then your focus jumps to the Banelings as your Banelings get to the mineral line. That. Just for about a second or two, shift-click the drones, and you should be good. And in that case, you could have done the bonus. You could have jumped to your Banelings earlier as they were going into the main. You could have grabbed a few of them and clicked them in the natural drones as well. Would be bonus points, right?
Totally forgot that.
So if there's enemy Banelings, like I said, or the fight doesn't look good, your Zerglings can just run away once your Banelings are there. You can just click your Zerglings back to the middle of the map and just focus on the Banelings if he's got a lot of his Banelings of his own. But if he has like a bunch of Roaches or Spinecrawler Queen at the front kind of thing, you often want to swap to just blowing up his army with your Ling Bane. If he just has a ball of Roaches and Queens and no Banelings of his own, what we're doing here is optimized to face enemy Banelings. That's why we're spreading out, right? But if they don't have Banelings, we can just clump up and go in a big ball.
All right.
Cool. So just practice it one more time, and this is going to be really good as a habit.
Okay. I try my best to remember.
No, you're doing great. Yeah. Yep, just micro the Banelings. So grab a few Banes and split them into the natural, shift click. Or just shift click in the main, either way is fine. Obviously, there's not many drones because it's a very easy AI, but normally there'd be a very full mineral line, so that was really good. So as long as you just remember somewhere in the middle area, which is where you did click your drones to blow them up, they'll get really good hits and be really valuable. That was really good, man. That was great. So that's exactly what we want to do. And you know what you can do is you can morph Banes, control group them, click them in, and then while you're waiting, you can go do an inject cycle. You can be like, okay, inject, build more Zerglings, and then you can go do the micro. So as you get better at this, you'll find when to squeeze the macro in while setting up the attack. And that's just going to allow you to have this constant stream. a lot of the way you win with these attacks in ZVZ is overloading the opponent. It's not actually necessarily the direct damage, because when your opponent's dealing with this, they will not be injecting. They will not be spending their money. They will be losing lava, drones, units to banelings and zerglings, and they'll generally just be shitting the bed in panic. So part of how you win with this is you're applying pressure and breaking your opponent's focus and systems down. And behind it, you're just doing your basics well, because you're in charge, so you're still injecting, and you're just rallying. And at a certain point, their production breaks down. And so sometimes it feels like you're losing, and then you just kind of win with the third or fourth wave, and you go, oh, what happened? And you look at it, and they have 3,000 minerals in the bank and no lava, and all their queens are dead, or whatever's happened, right?
Yeah.
So it's really nice, because this is like very much classic StarCraft asymmetric APM requirements and attention requirements. We're basically making the game very hard for our opponent with a simple, repeatable system. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. So this is the main thing with the Ling Bane micro. That's what we want to repeat. Like I said, if there's spines, queens, roaches, they're not going banelings, we can just clump up, just go for a big old blow up. Banelings are best at killing drones and zerglings. However, if they're all in a ball with roaches and queens, fully surrounded, you can blow your banelings up on that, and it'll actually get pretty decent damage. Those banelings get like in the middle of a pack of roaches, banelings hitting 5 or 6, 7 roaches, it's actually doing really good damage. So it can absolutely be worth it, especially if it's to like blow up a unit that's holding a choke point and it lets the lings flood in or something like that. So you can use banelings for busting as well. But for now, that's awesome, mate. That's the basics of the micro. Because you're already using control group stealing, it's much easier than the method I used to have to teach people in Heart of the Swarm. This is awesome.
I guess so.
Yeah, like back then there was a lot of shift clicking and control clicking and remaking groups and stuff. You had to control click the banelings, hotkey them separately, then you had to reselect the zerglings and control shift click out the banelings and then go control 2 again. It was just like so many extra steps used to be required. But no, this is awesome, dude. Any questions popping into your head before we get into the next practice of it?
Not really. I mean, I think I have to get used to it, and I will try to keep an eye on the Banes as they get into the mineral line, and not forgetting to like click them on the right-click on them on the drones. Yeah. But I think I understood everything.
And you will have a lot of fights where you just like your lings all run into a baneling and die. Random bad shit happens, and that's good. It doesn't matter, right? As long as you keep the rhythm going, keep doing your attacks, you do better on the next wave, you're just going to improve really quickly with this build, because like I said, repeatable system. A lot of ZVZ Ling Bane battles for most players are just overwhelming adrenaline, and they're frantically trying to react to everything. We're trying to remove all of that, right? We're trying to remove all of the reactions, all of the overthinking things, and trying to like frantically like... one of my biggest pet peeves in StarCraft is watching Zerg players try to split off individual Zerglings to snipe banelings. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Like, you've got better things to do with your APM than trying to split a single Zergling to attack a baneling. Like,
that's what I've done as well.
Yeah, everybody loves doing that, and it's great if you've perfectly done your injects, perfectly done everything else. But if you haven't perfectly done everything else, obviously it's a big waste of APM, isn't it? So. Yeah, let's get in and practice this build again really quickly here, and just get into the kind of the basic build practice to make sure we can get that one down. Because this build is going to really revolutionize your ZVZ, and you can do this exact same version of this build all the way to GM basically. It's not going to win you every game. There are people who will just do really safe double spine crawler, Evo chamber, Rotoran wall offs. They can defend it, but I think for the most part we should be really well set up. And like I said, we will get people calling us names on the internet, and that's usually a sign of us playing a very good build.
I have the coaching document open on my mobile phone, so I can look at it from the side.
Fantastic. So after the hatchery, we'll build the 3 drones. And remember, the first one goes to minerals, the next one to gas, and then the next one to spawning pool. So you can even rally the eggs as you build them. So a lot of people will build drone, click to minerals, build drone, click to gas, build drone, click to spawning pool position. Yeah, just like that, perfect. And a lot of people will even that drone that got built, the first one, they would have clicked that to your top left mineral patch because your top left mineral patch only has one guy on it right now. So that's something we can fix up in a moment. All right, build more drones. And in the middle of building drones, your fourth mineral patch from the bottom side has 3 workers on it. So we're going to pull one off that and we're going to put him on the top left mineral patch. Not that one. The middle one of your middle mineral patches has 3 workers on it.
All right. Okay, I understand.
And put him on the bottom one. That you just took one off.
Okay.
Yep. And that's something which is small, but we'll work on this more later on. It's just a distraction for now. It's all good. They'll double themselves up now, well, which is perfect. Yeah, they're back to 16 perfectly.
No overload yet, right?
Overlord now. Yeah, we'll go 20 overlord. Yep, that's fine.
All right. Okay.
We technically can build it after the queens, but it's just easier to make sure we always remember it with this one. Double queen, 1 pair of zerglings. Yep, or 2 pairs. It does not matter. It's all good.
Right.
As long as we do the same thing, every game in future, it'll be good. But this is first time. We'll get ling speed started. And this is great. So just keep droning here. And when you're ready, send a drone to the third. Obviously, we don't need to do it just yet. Like you said, probably about 10 seconds from now. So we can send that drone over.
And link scout with 4 links, right?
Yeah, you can go scout. Now, obviously, this is not a real opponent, so you could just A-move them to like 3/4 of the way across the map and then just ignore them. Let's go the double inject. Always double inject, then third hatchery, and then baneling nest. And put your baneling nest up the front like you're walling off your natural, okay? It's not really important for this build, but when we do more macro transitions, that's going to help us because we'll use an Evo Roach Warren on the other side of the wall off to help. All right, run our Zergling zone. We want to focus on our macro. Yeah. So remember, what do we do after the baneling nest?
Overlords.
Overlord? Yep. 2 overlords and then just mass Zerglings, okay? And I'm going to change the write-up of your build order. Just write 2 overlords. I thought we would have more lava than we did, but we're fine. Now, if you want, you can hide these 4 Zerglings on the other side of the map and morph Banelings ahead of an attack. We're not going to do that yet. We're going to keep it really basic for now because you've got to get the build down before we do any fancy bullshit like that.
Okay.
For now, we're just keeping the Lings building. And we can start moving across now, but make sure we do another inject cycle as we move across. So do the injects, and then let's go for the attack and start doing the Baneling morph in the middle of the map. And yeah. Just go for it. You're doing really well, mate. Make sure you hotkey those.
All right.
Yeah, beautiful. Click the Baneling straight into the main base, remember? And while you're waiting, macro cycle. Let's go do some injects while we wait. We've got 5 seconds right now. Build more Zerglings. And now micro. Good luck.
All right.
We had an A move command. That was not a shift. So you A clicked on the ground accidentally. Yeah. Make sure you use right click commands. So that way, if you accidentally you accidentally misclick on the ground, it'll be a move command. That's all right. Let's go back.
Okay.
Inject. Build more Zerglings, and let's do another wave when you're ready. That was really good, though. That was like 7 out of 10 or something, which is really good for our first couple times trying. Okay, go for the attack. You've got enough lings, so you can start going. We don't need to wait. This is really good. You don't need to look at it when you're morphing the lings and banes. You can literally be looking at your base while you're doing that. Yeah. Just click the banelings into the main base. You're doing great. Beautiful shift clicking with the banelings this time. That was actually really good. The Zerglings managed to block one, but otherwise you would have got 2 big juicies killing all of the drones in what would normally be a much more full mineral line if it wasn't a very easy AI that doesn't build many drones. That's awesome. You're doing really good, mate. This is the build. I can now leave you with this to practice a billion times, and you will get a lot of experience. But just to remember, we don't need to look at the Ling Bane. So one last time, let's pull back, go for one more wave of the Baneling Morph, just the setup of the attack. But I want you to just be looking at your main base while you do it this time. So we're just using the mini-map to click across the map, and we're just morphing the Banelings when we see where they are in roughly the right position on the map. And we're just using that bottom command card, that wireframe down the bottom. So this is going to be, you know, awesome. You do have a lot of Zerglings, a lot more than normal, so you're going to have to tab a little bit more through the screens. But yeah, just go look at your main base or something while you do this, and good luck.
All right. Okay, I will stay in the main base.
Yeah. You got it. Beautiful.
Oops.
Yeah, and that, because before you were like following the Lings and Banes along, you can see you can do this on the minimap, and it just reminds us of how simple the technique is, right? We don't even need to be looking. Obviously, we need to look at it for the Zergling micro and the Baneling micro, but that was way better. That was awesome. That was like really clean, dude. So I'm really impressed. Protect our drone brothers. Protect them. You're killing it. All right, man. That's great. All right, let's hop out now. And yeah, that was fantastic. That was really good. All right, this is great. That's gonna carry us a very long way, my man. Awesome. So now let's review your ZVP by looking at those lovely replays you sent me. Coaching 9th Jan. All right. Where's my downloads folder? ZVP.
I've sent you some
ZVP,
wins and some
ZVP.
losses.
We'll start with the losses then, won't we? Always good to start with the losses. ZVP loss, watch with others. Wins are useful as well. They're all just as useful. It's easier for people to see what's going on. Usually in their wins their losses rather than their wins, but it's good practice. Watch it the other way. I'm sad you changed your name, mate. Your name before was better. Just hand job. Much better than some random. Lame.
Yeah. Me and my friends, the people on stream can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, me and my friends, we had a joke and we named ourselves Crisp Hand Job, Crisp Foot Job, Crisp Rim Job, and so on. So basically, all the people had a lot of laugh in the chat when we entered the game every time.
I always enjoy playing against a team of people with theme names like that. It always, you know, it just adds a different vibe to the seriousness of
it's more fun. Yeah. Also, when I'm like good luck, have fun, I always write bro at the end. GLHF bro.
Yeah. All right. So basically ZVP. Let's kind of make sure we've got the notes open over here. So ZVP, how's it been going? Like, generally, is there a specific thing you go, look, when I see this, I just have no idea how to play against it? Or like, you know, are you confident against most things? You feel like you're just still getting used to the build? Like, how's the overall ZVP feeling?
Actually, against any race, I'm just playing the build orders I've learned by now, as I have been transitioning from Protoss to Zerg now. And I have not been playing enough Zerg to know which units are good against which units they have. So basically, I think that if I've seen like a lot of tanks or a lot of mech, I have no idea what to do. Against Protoss, let's say they have a lot of Phoenix. I also wouldn't know what to do except like Hydras or something like that. And I literally have no idea which units are good against any of the other compositions from my enemy. At least with Zerg. With Protoss, I'm pretty sure what to do, but not with Zerg.
Okay, no worries. This is cool. Like, I actually like the Phoenix example because that's one that carries across multiple matchups and it's very important, especially for Zerg. playing against heavy airplay, same if someone rushes Mutalisks versus you in ZVZ, once you're playing macro, I mean, at the moment you're just going to kill them with Ling Bane, but later on, same thing, and same thing against Terran if they go battle cruisers to a certain extent. So ZVP, you know, how to deal with heavy Phoenix, right? And there's a kind of good general rule for Phoenix or any heavy airplay as Zerg. So basically the rule is you need spores and queens, right? So you'll be building extra queens and extra spores. So what does that cost? Lots of minerals, plus losing drones by building spore crawlers, okay? Now, you will almost always lose some overlords and drones as well, right?
Yeah.
Because of just, they're always going to get a little bit of damage, especially if they've gone Void Ray or Phoenix or something that can shoot air units like Battlecruiser. So that's going to be big. So how can we minimize that? Pull back your overlords. If you see a Phoenix, a Void Ray, a Viking opening, a Battlecruiser opening, someone going Mutalisks, you've got 6-7 overlords around the map. Try to spend 10 seconds boxing them with shift click. So if I would do this by going around right now, like I'm just looking in this replay and I'm going box the overlord, you know, box the overlord, bam, bam, bam. And I'm just holding down box with shift click, and then I just right click them back behind my main base. And that's a really good habit to build to minimize that, okay? So pull back overlords when we spot Viking or Phoenix, Void Ray, etc., or meter opening, right? So that's always nice. But no matter what, we lose a lot of minerals because we have to build more queens, more spores. We lose drones, we lose overlords, we lose drones to building the spores. So the most important thing to counter any airplay is to build drones. And this is actually what most people don't realize. So the most important part of defending all airplay as Zerg is massing drones. And the reason is, like we said, you're just spending more minerals on anti-air. If your opponent's building air, they probably can't hit you on the ground as much, so we don't need things like roaches and lings, or at least we can delay them, right? So we just want to basically build drones, pound out that work account. And that allows us to build the spores, build extra queens, and then we can just continue with whatever our normal plan was. But we delay it by 30 seconds or a minute to build the extra drones, to build the extra anti-air. And that's a good general rule we can apply across our matchups as we go, okay? So,
for Protoss.
For any time we're playing against heavy airplay, like that forces us to build lots of spores and queens. So if you see a Void Ray opening, you know, whether it's Void Ray Oracle, multiple Void Rays, multiple Phoenix, you know, or if someone goes Mutalisks, same rule applies. All three matchups, when we have to respond to heavy air, build lots of spores and queens, but build a shitload of drones as well. A lot of people just think of the spores and the queens or the hydras or whatever. Remember, drones is part of it, because I have seen thousands of players over the years just kill their own economy. And the air units don't even do damage, but the Zerg's already dead from killing his own economy, from not building drones and just spending all their money on anti-air.
Oh, really?
All right, so this game, we can see we've lost quite a lot of units, right? And you are basically dead at this point. Can you see why in this replay?
He has 40 workers and I only have 26.
Yeah. And we've got 13 lava there. We do have a lot of minerals. We desperately need to be spending it. We've got a lot of overlords popping out right now. So I'm kind of going, where's the drone production? So it felt like in the game, you're building a lair, you're building gases, you're building more roaches. You didn't seem to really realize that your economy was this low, right? When you were playing, from what I can see.
I don't really know. I think I just wanted to get to proceed with the build order and get a lot of like roaches out now and a lot of lings. Just not be overwhelmed by whatever army he's going to come with.
But the problem with this, and this makes sense, this is a situation a lot of people find themselves in, is you've now built Roachling, but you're now going back to drones, but the later you build drones, the less time they have to build economy for you and stuff like that, right? So when we take damage like this, we need to be probably even greedier than normal, right? We need to be like even more drone focused to recover from that damage. So if we go ahead and build Roachling, you know, where we're going to be in a really big spot of bother. And it would be better for us to be greedy here and then die to these adepts, lose another 30 drones, and then just GG, than it would to be building the Roachling right now. Unless, if you didn't build these drones, if you said, well, I just took so much damage, I'm dead, and if you did nothing but built Roach Ling and just went for an all-in attack right now, I'd be okay with it because it still gives you a chance for victory, right? It's a pretty low chance because you're pretty far behind, but at least all your eggs are in one basket. But if you're on 26 drones, 6 minutes into the game, 29 drones, building roaches and lings, and then not going for an all-in attack, we're basically putting ourselves in a position where we're just going to die very slowly, right? Because we don't have the economy. So the next 6 minutes of this game is kind of pointless to look at. Let's just go back and look at the early game again, and let's focus on that build order and focus on kind of our early defense and just have a little look-see at that. Because Oracles and Adepts, you'll have games like this. No matter how experienced you are in this matchup, opponent does some really nice harassment. You're maybe just a little off on your defense, and things happen. But so far, you took Ling speed, you went 2 queens. Always remember, hot tip, I prefer to... Oh, no, you did. You did inject, third hatchery. Perfect. Never mind. You're doing good. And then we go queen and then overlord should be next. Beautiful. All right, yeah, your opening's tight. Really good. I mean, this is good. Your opening's fantastic. Now you try to run your Zerglings in. And did we lose an overlord this game? No, we did not. Okay. Cool. So, all right. No worries. So we don't have any Zerglings out right now. So in general, if you're not really keeping eyes on things, usually about the time Ling Speed's finishing, about this time, we do want to go up to about, 8 to 10 Zerglings if you just play without enough map vision, like no Zerglings outside their base, no overlords, just so if you see Adepts like this, you can shut it down. So if we did that as standard, somewhere about this point in the game, so you're building your third queen, you've built your extra overlord, you've built these 3 drones. If you at 36 supply always went to 10 Zerglings, that would be okay. So if we always struggle with adept pressure and we want to simplify it, that's an option, okay?
All right, so don't saturate the natural and focus on some links and then build more workers.
36 supply, go to 12 lings before resuming droning. Okay, and that can also allow you to potentially slow down a fast third base as well, right? So that shuts down adepts, gives scouting, can deny super fast Protoss third base. You can also just attack the wall off. If they only have 1 unit in their wall off, you could just like kill it and actually screw them up if they're being super greedy.
All right.
Yep.
So give scouting means that I should put link scouts on the map, or that I should actually enter his base?
You can actually poke around if you've got the APM for it. On the basic level, when you're just learning, I'd say just put a ling outside his base, put a ling at his 3rd and 4th base locations, because we don't know which 3rd he's going to go for. You can see where I'm doing the signals on the map?
Yes, okay.
Yep. If you just put a Zergling in each of those spots, leave the rest at home, that's basic. Higher level is you might feel confident actually running in with the Zerglings. And in this game, for instance, if we did that, say we get those lings out at about 3:30, we go across the map, we run into these 2 adepts, we surround them, kill them, and then we run into his base and win the game. And the reason is his wall off is one of the most awful, giant gaping holes I've ever seen in my life. I mean, this guy's been doing some of the dark side of the internet videos. I mean, we're talking about... That's a terrible wall off. You can fit like 6 Zerglings through there at a time. He would need 2 Stalkers side by side to wall that off. 2 Adepts wouldn't even wall that off properly unless they were perfectly positioned. So that would be nice. But for you, just get a few Zerglings out for vision and then just chill. Yeah. The other thing is if everyone's going Adept Oracle in your games now, which I think you're getting to an MMR, you're going to see this more and more. What we can start doing is a little bit more scouting. I'm trying to let's double check our build while we watch how we handle this. So the build I gave you, just to jog my memory, were we building a spore crawler in the main every game?
Yes, we are.
Okay, cool. And looks like you built that on time, maybe even earlier than necessary this game. Let's check when we built that. Better early than late, right? Nice and safe. Yeah, we built this like right here. Okay, perfect. 3:30 in the main. Great. Yeah, we've got a spore there. As long as our queens cover our natural, we've got good overlord coverage. We should be good. I would point out your overlord down here is maybe a little further out than it needs to be, but overall, this looks pretty decent. Let's take a look. Where's this overlord? Okay. So, in terms of your vision, I guess what I'd be prioritizing a little bit differently is I would want this overlord in the middle to be just a little further south to like see those adepts coming a bit easier. And then I'd want a separate overlord up over there on the top right.
I have always placed or trying to place the overlords on top of those areas where units can't walk, just so the overlords tend to survive more often.
Get out of that habit. It's okay against Terran if they're like marine pressuring you earlier, but it's pretty rare Protoss is running Stalkers over anyway. It's usually only going to be like a Phoenix or a Void Ray that kills Overlord, so against Protoss we don't need to worry about that. Against Zerg we don't need to worry about it because they don't have any mobile anti-air early either. So that's only against Terrans that actually run Marines on the map. Try to make that a special adjustment for those matchups. Focus on having just more solid vision. Because this Ling does see these adapts, but the Overlord has way bigger sight range than a Zergling you can see. And it just gives you earlier vision. So like, yeah, let's see how quickly we react here. Okay, we got the attack warning. We need to build Zerglings. Okay, we've seen it. Zerglings, 10 Zerglings on the way. Great. We've got the Queens. Okay, and we're going to follow with the Queens and the Zerglings. Very good reaction, mate. Yeah, no, this is really good. And we just needed to run these drones away a little bit earlier. That's all. It's okay. And that could have been much worse, mate. For getting caught without Zerglings, that was a really good reaction. But if we have the Zerglings, easier. Much easier, right? Now, the thing is, afterwards, we're going Roachmore and second gas and stuff. It's more important for you to drone than it is to do things in your build. This is your first crucial mistake. Your adrenaline just spiked because you got surprised by adepts, and your instinct says, fuck, I'm late on my build. I've got to catch up on my build. So this is actually something, what we're going to talk about now, applies to all matchups, and this is the thing that will make you a plus 1000 MMR player. So let's go to the notes and let's talk about this in terms of theory. I'm just going to bring this back on screen.
I think that's massive because always when I'm losing workers, I don't focus on getting them back and building drones, but instead I try to like get units and so on.
I'm going to write this above ZVP, actually, at the very top. Biggest lesson from today. When our adrenaline spikes, when we're fighting, you know, when we're microing, fighting hard, and doing lots of shit, our instincts are to get frazzled, you know, to get excited and panic and try to play too fast. We need to slow down, take a breath, and do our basics first. So what is the first step? Always first step after any fighting, macro cycle. Inject, 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 build drones.
All right.
Build drones, build overlords, right? If you do those three things, that's good. So even if there's a voice in your head saying, oh God, my Roachmore and second gas is late, go, cool. That if you think of your build as a shopping list, you go first inject, then build drones, then build overlords, right? Bam, bam, bam. That Roachmore and second gas we can do after we do all that. But we always need to keep our lava machine rolling. So
I'm always scared.
Yeah.
Sorry if I can ask a question quick.
No, go.
If I'm always scared that I will not have enough units and I will be overwhelmed by his army.
And that will be a self-fulfilling prophecy if we don't build drones, right? So what's really good here is, remember, the only reason we really need urgency on our Roachmore and second gas is for our attack to hit on time against him. Because I guess at this point you don't know he's going Oracle, but even if he was going for Glaive Adepts or something like that, we would need to build drones, or we're not going to be able to afford any Roaches anyway. Even when the Roach Horn finishes, we're not going to be able to use it. And the funny thing is, this Roach Horn and second gas won't get delayed massively by doing the drones first. It actually won't be a big difference. It'll be maybe 20 seconds. The difference is when the Roach Horn finishes, you'll have 45 workers and 20 supply free, and you can just build 10 Roaches straight away. Whereas in this game, your Roach Horn's going to finish, you won't be able to use it. And you're going to take damage from the Oracles, which is going to be bigger, because you haven't droned up at all. So notice you've got 11 lava. This is something I always look at in the replay tab. Lava. If we're floating idle lava, it means our machine isn't working, right? Our basic machine is kind of not rolling. Now, we injected here after that fight, but we didn't do a full macro cycle. We built 4 drones and a gas. And we clicked 3 of those drones onto an extractor, it looks like, which is the last thing we should be doing, right? Because we don't need to manually click drones in these scenarios. We need to just make sure we spend all of our lava. So let's watch that again. I want to watch this, like this 2 seconds once we deal with the adapts and what we do here. And if you ever want to see in a replay what you're doing, you can swap to your player view by Control-Shift-O should bring up the thing. If not, swap to your view, and you can always hit escape. So if you've clicked on something, obviously it shows what you've got selected, right? Like I clicked on the extractor, it shows the extractor. If I hit escape, it shows what you had selected in real time in the replay, which is your 2 queens right now, yeah?
Yes, yes.
So let's watch what we do as we deal with this. This like little thing here, we're spending so much time because it's the sort of stuff that's just, you'll use this knowledge 1,000 times over. All right, so we've dealt with it, and now you're going, okay, we dealt with it, fuck. Okay, we put back on minerals. And this is where we need to not panic, we need to take a breath. And remember, if your opponent just threw 2 adepts away, that's not even a great trade for him. It's like relatively even. A little bit positive for him. And that was us being caught completely off guard. Like, it's not a big deal at all. This is just a normal interaction. If we just inject, build drones, build some overlords, then think about the next step of the build, you'll be in a massive spot. But let's watch what we actually do. I imagine it's going to be very panicked, but let's check. So we inject the natural. We build a gas. We build a roach warren. We then build a few drones, click them on the gas. We build more drones and click them on the minerals. I mean, it's awesome that you did so many things so quickly there, but it's chaotic. Yeah. Inject, gas, roach warren, inject, drones, inject. It's all kind of disjointed, and it's going to be really easy to lose track of where you are. So mechanically, I love it. Great speed, and the fact that you just did a lot of things there was great. But it'll just be easier for you if you slow down and just did all the injects at once. And if you build that organization in your brain where you go, oh, I need a second gas and a roach warren, but I'm going to finish this macro cycle first. Because if you don't do the full macro cycles, you're always going to be doing things like hitting supply blocks because you're rushing through the steps. And it just takes longer. If you're injecting this hatchery, then building a roach warren, then injecting another hatchery, then building some drones, all your lava injects are popping at different times, right? Like, so you've kind of got to produce at different times, and it just creates a lot of extra busy work for you. And we can see here, we still haven't built that overlord. We should have built several overlords by now. And we're just a bit disorganized for the oracles that come in, which end up being massive damage.
I have a lot of minerals as well. Too many.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of lava, so if we built a few overlords and drones here, right, we'd be able to spend that lava very well. But I guess we didn't know there was an oracle at this point either, which does kind of hurt us a little bit. If we had an overlord on the top right of our third, we would have seen it a bit earlier. And if these overlords are in the corners, we don't need these overlords so far out. Remember? Just overlord next to your main. There. Those 5 overlords in a ring around your base.
I cannot see the.
Okay, go back to everyone's camera.
All right.
You see them now?
Yes.
If you had those 5 overlords, that gives you much earlier warning, and your queens could come down to defend a bit quicker.
All right.
You have 4 queens, so even if this is your first time you see oracles, you just pull all your queens to defend. Hopefully you have at least some of them on a hotkey. We only had 1 in this scenario because it was a little bit messy, even though we had 4 queens. And you just run the drones away as needed, and obviously we can build spores once we know it's oracles. Your build's not building spores until we know it's oracles, other than the one in the main base, right? And we're just relying on queens and vision to defend our natural and then our third base. And that'd be really good. Yeah. Let's watch this from your point of view again, and let's see how we handle it. So we're looking, build spore. We built 2 spores. Only ever build 1 there, unless you think he's going to kill them, which he's not. The main thing is run the drones. I like that you build a spore, but you've got to run the drones. If you run the drones, the damage here will be way less, and you should have ran them to your main base, because you got more queens and spores there. I mean, this was pretty good that you tried to run to the other side of the mineral line at that point. We need to hold that drone key down. We've got 18 lava, we have 18 free supply, and 900 minerals. You could still get back in this game if you just hold the drone key down right now. And you would be amazed how many fuck-ups you can make against adepts, oracles, hellions, if you're good at holding the drone key down. Like, if you're like, man, I know this is not good that I'm losing these drones, but if you keep holding the drone key down, it's crazy. A laser, the lovely Polish Zerg, has always been my favorite example of one of the highest level Zergs in the world, who will lose 45 drones by the 7-minute mark and still be at 90 workers and ahead of his opponent. Like, he will just have so little defense, but he's so good at just droning while losing workers and defending with just queens and whatever he can, that unless his opponent's an absolutely top tier player, they end up committing so much to doing damage, and it's just not enough to deal with the crazy drone production that he has coming out. And that's always a kind of cool, unique way of doing it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So what I've now understood is that I always, when I get attacked and like a lot of drones are killed, I will always just focus on getting the drones back first, droning, doing some, making some overlords, and after that I will proceed with my build order.
100%. And in these sort of games where things get really messy and fucked up, do even more of that conscious, like, I know I'm delaying my build by like a minute or two, right? I'm delaying my build by a very long time, and that's fine because he committed a lot to do the damage, so his build's delayed as well. So you might normally be like, oh, at 5 minutes they come with an immortal push. But then if you're like, no, but that's a guy who didn't do any harassment. This guy went 2 adepts into 2 oracles. This guy's immortal push will be 7 minutes. So it's okay for you to also, you know, be droning up and recovering for longer. That's a good general way of thinking about it. It's the same thing that I mentioned with the air units before, how so many Zergs will build spores, queens, rush hydras, and they'll take no damage to the enemy void rays, but they'll have 30 drones. And they're just dead because they've killed their own economy because they're so focused on, like, I got to deal with this. So it's just, especially with Zerg, you can feel this is very different to Protoss, right? Because your work account can be explosive, it can grow, but you're much more commonly losing workers to harassment. And anytime you build army, you are taking away army production. And that's different to Protoss and Terran, right? Where choosing to build an immortal or a few gateway units, it doesn't remove your ability to build probes, but it does with Zerg. Not just for the minerals, but also the lava being used up. And that's going to be like the big thing that we're really starting to like wrestle with here. Overall, though, I think like the early game here looked really tight. We've got to finish up in a sec. But yeah, I think the early game, like at the very start, this looked really tight. And if we can just build those couple of safety Zerglings to deal with the Adepts, or like I said, even if you got surprised by the Adepts like you did, maybe you could have just had a Zergling outside the base to see them earlier. If you saw him leaving his base, that would have given you more vision, right? More time to build your Zerglings and not lose any drones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, the ring of vision with your overlords could be a little bit better. That could be fine. And just remembering to, like build even more drones as you take damage is going to be like super, super helpful, right? So I think these are all really important things to kind of just keep developing. But the start of the build order, first 3.5 minutes, was fantastic. And then it's just kind of getting into the rhythm of saying, look, if my opponent opens Adept Oracle, and if your opponent opens Stargate in general, you don't need to be worried about any ground attacks. If they build multiple oracles and stuff, there's no scary attacks coming. It's just about defend the harassment and build a lot of workers to keep up with that oracle growth and that probe growth. You can see here, 5.5 minutes, he's just got a few unupgraded Adepts and Stalkers. And it's only going to be like 7 minutes or so when he suddenly has a big charge lot army. And even then, 7 minutes, he probably won't have it. This is still just a shitty light harassment force, really. Let's just 8 times this replay quickly. So we clean that up. Unfortunately, we are a bit too far behind to really make anything happen here, I think. But yeah, we'll see how we go. A good attempt to get in the natural, but yeah, good wall off for him. Yeah, there's no way. I mean, we're just too far behind. We're way too far behind. Cool. Awesome.
All right.
Awesome, man. Okay, so obviously, shoot me any questions that stuff doesn't make sense. Any last questions here before we wrap up for today?
I need homework, but that's it.
No worries. Homework is Overlords. Stop putting them on the pillars in ZVZ. So, homework. No more Overlords on pillars. What else are we going to do? Ling spotters. Tighter ring of Overlord vision around your base.
Yeah, practicing the ZVZ build with attack at 4 minutes.
Yeah. Drone hard after damage is going to be really big. And also the biggest thing is drone hard after damage, but in general, anytime you bounce your attention back from fighting, do a full macro cycle. That biggest lesson from today point, I cannot emphasize that enough, right?
Okay, so macro cycle, full macro cycle does not only mean inject, but also after the injects, do drones and do overloads.
Yeah, I'll replace it with build units, because obviously sometimes you're meant to be building army, but it's still inject, spend all your lava, building units, building overlords. Yeah, do that whole thing before doing anything else, any buildings or moving drones around or any of that fancy stuff. Yeah.
Whatever is important at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Right. So and ZVZ is the biggest part, right? So ZVZ is the ZVZ build.
I have a feeling
the
that
build.
some Zergs don't like playing against Zerg, because I have, in the last 30 games that I've played, I have met like 3 players always leaving ZVZ. And they are writing to me as well that they have left because they don't want to play ZVZ.
That's hilarious. There's quite a few people who don't like mirror matchups in StarCraft. Mirror matchups demand that you understand your own race in details and are willing to, you know, play it. I am really like struggling with PvP, and I always do, because like I know it takes just a lot of study and a lot of effort to like really understand all the tiny little decisions, practice the different build orders. And ZVZ can be like that as well at the highest level, but thankfully you can simplify it by either doing a Roach War and Evo wall-off, playing really safe into Roach style, which is what we taught in the BDGM, the most recent one, or doing this Ling Bane aggression, which I'm teaching you now, which is what I taught in my first ZVZ BDGM, which is what I've coached most players on over the years. And if you run into that Roach War and Evo chamber wall-off, you don't need to spread out against that. You can just group up and just knock the wall down with a mixture of Zerglings, potentially use Banelings to help blow up the wall as well. And you're just going to look to overwhelm the defenses. If you can kill the Roach Warren as a priority, depending on how exposed it is. If it's too hard to get to, you can't. Because obviously if you kill the Roach Warren, they can't build anything except slow Zerglings and Queens and Spine Crawlers, which are not very good for defending and take a bit too long to get up. So awesome. That's your homework. Hit me up in a day or two, a few days, whenever you want to set up the next one, and we'll get into it.
All right, perfect. Thank you for the amazing session again, and I'll hit you up.
No worries. Thanks for doing it on stream, and thanks for the patience with the delay, mate. Have a good night. Good luck on the ladder, dude.
Well. Thank you. Bye.
Big thanks to St. Random there for being a legend and putting in a lot of practice. It's been developing very fast from very little Zerg experience to really learning a lot of the skills really quickly. Big thank you. I want to fly for the 7-month resub. Ratjar